Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Kaitlin Riegler, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Angel Brutus. Dr. Brutus is a member of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee's Psychological Services Leadership Team within the Sports Medicine Department. Dr. Brutus is a certified mental health performance consultant. She is also a certified workshop facilitator with Positive Coaching Alliance, Heart Math practitioner, and a training facilitator in mental health first aid for adults. Dr. Brutus is licensed to provide mental health services in the states of California, Colorado, Utah, New York, Mississippi, and Georgia as a licensed professional counselor, board certified tele-mental health counselor, and certified mental performance consultant. She is also a level 5 yoga instructor and remains under supervision for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or EMDR certification. She's going to be speaking at the upcoming SNS Symposium in Philadelphia in May, giving a talk titled Athlete Mental Health, Cultural Implications for Education and Intervention Efforts. Dr. Brutus, thanks for being willing to speak with me today and to present at the conference and share your expertise on this topic.
No, thanks for having me, and thank you for doing this interview as a precursor to the conference. I'm really looking forward to engaging with the attendees as a first-time attendee myself.
Yeah, it should be great. And especially since, your talk focuses on athlete mental health, it's such an important part of overall health and well-being, but it's also kind of critical in that recovery from any injury, but particularly an injury such as concussion. What do you think about like that intersection of mental health and injury? Is that something that will be touched on during your talk?
Yeah, I think it's going to be touched on in a number of different ways as a part of the fabric of the overall conversation, especially working with athlete populations. Usually what tends to happen in the work that we do is that we're not just focused on the individual athlete. We're also ensuring that we have influence and understanding as an integrated part of their care, especially as they're recovering and returning to competition from an injury, whether it's a minor injury or a significant injury, whether it has an acute onset or if it's something that is more chronic. A lot of the mental health and just even mental skills implications are very varied depending on the onset and the type of onset that it is. And being able to really look at the approach to supporting athletes from an ecological systems approach, I think is super necessary because it's not just the athlete, it's an entire system that is influenced and impacted.
Yeah. Yeah. And, one thing is as neuropsychologists, we're trained first as clinical psychologists because we're clinical neuropsychologists. And the same is true, right, for sports neuropsychology, that clinical piece comes first. And so that kind of focus on mental health is part of our early training and hopefully something we continue to incorporate throughout. But given that, what do you hope, right? This is a little bit of a different audience. Like, what are you hoping that the sports neuropsychologists can get out of your upcoming talk at the conference?
Yeah, I love the fact that you've highlighted the target audience for this particular conference because, being in a room speaking with a room full of subject matter experts, you got to come with your A game, right? And so understanding how do we make the conversation just that, a conversation? How do we go beyond just looking at what we tend to use for like standardized protocols and things of that nature and get down to the root of what the needs are for the athlete, how they're experiencing their injury or their illness, and then also how they're experiencing the system and the environment around them and the messages that they might be engaged with, whether it's internalized or externalized. And so really having an opportunity to contribute to the programming for this upcoming symposium, I think it really is, for me, how do we take all of the leveraged opportunities that we have with the subject matter experts in the room and make this make sense to the average everyday athlete that we're supporting and working with? Like, how do we make the services and the work that we're doing a collaborative approach with the athlete of concern? What does that look like in terms of integrating some of the awareness and understanding from a biopsychosocial standpoint? What does it look like to help to increase or their mental health literacy and everything else in between. And then how do we equip and empower them to go back into these particular systems when we're not the ones that are present to help increase understanding for those other stakeholders that are in the sports system to understand how to best support the athlete experience as they are returning to competition, hopefully, or
Mhm.
if they are, making a transition out of sport, and what does that look like as well? And so, depending on the injury, depending on the illness, um, it's really crucial and important that we allow space and opportunity for athletes to walk away feeling empowered to fully understand what the profile of their case looks like, and in ways to create some meaningful goals that are associated with their experience that either helps them to continue to progress in their sport trajectory, or make the conscious decision and informed decision about what comes next if sport is no longer a part of the equation.
Mhm. Yeah, I like you're kind of bringing in that like whole context piece, which I feel is kind of the background of your talk topic, which is, it's not just the athlete and these, this one-on-one, with this provider, right? It's this entire environment that they're a part of. So I think that'll be really exciting for all of the attendees at the symposium to start to think about, right? And you said in kind of that collaborative way, it's a good opportunity across disciplines to have that conversation, and to start thinking about these things. Yeah, so Dr. Brutus, thanks again for speaking with me. We're going to be looking forward to learning more about athlete mental health at the SNS Symposium in Philadelphia this May. Those listening can learn more about the conference and register to attend on the SNS website, sportsneuropsychologysociety.com, and you can also follow SNS on Facebook and on our Twitter accounts. So thanks, Dr. Brutus.
Thank you for having me.